Hey, everybody, this is Jimmy, and welcome back to another episode of our Meet the Cambridge Candidate series in 2023 for Cambridge City Council and Cambridge School Committee. Our next guest is Adrienne Klein. She is a first-time candidate for Cambridge City Council. Please welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen, Adrienne Klein, candidate for Cambridge City Council. Hi, Adrienne. How are you today?
Hi, Jimmy. I'm doing pretty well. Thanks for having us
Uh,
here.
Of course. So, Adrienne, just give us a little background on yourself. Who are you? How long have you lived in Cambridge? And why are you running for Cambridge City Council?
Yeah, so I'm not a born and raised Cantabrigian, unfortunately. I was born in Central Mass, but I've always spent a lot of time in Cambridge since my
Mhm,
godmother was here.
mhm.
I started working in Cambridge about 10 years ago and living in the area, and I moved here permanently 3 years ago. I'm here with my husband and my son now, and we're in it for the long haul. We have a mortgage, so at least 30 years. In terms of my background, I have a pretty eclectic background, but I've been working in the public sector for over 10 years and working for social change. So I've been advising local governments internationally on public health and justice issues. And most recently, I've been working for the city of Cambridge, helping residents connect with resources for the city. So through helping thousands of people and building relationships with city staff, I've learned where our government can do better. And that's part of the reason that I'm running. I really care about the people that I was hearing from. And I think that they felt that in our interactions, my determination to get them answers and in my follow up. I
Mhm.
think the city can be taking concrete actions to support residents to improve their day to day lives. And I intend to push through some of those actions.
Great. So you were working, just for in the spirit of full disclosure, you were working, was it as an assistant to the mayor or an advisor? What was your capacity working for Mayor Symbol
Yes,
Siddiqui?
I have been the mayor's director of constituent services for the past 3 years. So
Mhm,
when someone would call the office with a question or really just call the city sometimes, they'd
mhm.
get connected to me and then I'd try to get them to the right department or find an answer for them.
Okay, so you're really on the ground level. I mean, in terms of literally where the rubber meets the road about people calling up, I can't get a parking space, and they're calling you to complain, right?
Exactly. I did a lot of listening, and I think that people generally left feeling heard
Mhm.
and helped by what I was doing. And hopefully that's what I'll do as a city councilor as well.
Okay, so what is the city doing well, and where do you think we need improvement?
The city has incredible resources that we're offering and some really good ideas, dedicated staff. I think that what we can do better is the implementation and the communication around what we're doing and why. So I think that we can do that. I'm really positive with an outlook for a city that has so many resources and so many good people, so many good ideas. But it's the implementation really and the communication to residents that we can do better.
Hmm. And what do you hope to accomplish if you were so fortunate to be elected on the Cambridge City Council? What would your top 3 to 5 priorities be?
Definitely. I'm going to focus on transparency and helping people connect to those resources. Like I said, I've been serving as a human Rolodex for the past few years. We've got to find a way to make resources more accessible, and we can do that. We can optimize the searchability of the website. We can make it easy to track policy orders so that we can find out what City Council is doing. We can translate materials into multiple languages, or we can conduct outreach in different formats, focus groups, going to different places, getting City Hall out into the community. That's what I want to do for transparency. Another focus for me is supporting families. So, like I said, I am raising my bilingual, bicultural family here. And I think that we can do a lot more from expanding universal pre-K down to 2 year olds to, after school opportunities and additional pathways for college success for our students. It's an area that I was working on previously in Cambridge and I continue to be passionate about. And then the final priority I'll say is housing, housing, housing. We need more affordable housing. We need to support the people that are already in housing. We need to increase opportunities for people to transition from being perpetual renters to home ownership and building equity. And I live in subsidized housing, so I have the lived experience and have helped thousands of people apply for housing. So I think that I know exactly where we can make some of those adjustments, and that's what I'll be hoping to do.
hmm Maybe you could help me out with some insight into this. I didn't ask all the candidates this, but since you bring it up, and because you've been so involved with the city from the point of, from the mayor's office, Michelle Wu in Boston is talking about they have all these commercial properties that are vacant or semi-vacant, and she was suggesting that, I don't know what stage they're at right now, but she was suggesting trying to convert some of these properties into affordable housing. Do you think are you familiar with that particular suggestion?
So I actually wasn't familiar with that
Okay.
one, but
Okay.
now that you raise it, I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I just wanted to know if you had any insight in that, but don't worry about it. If you hadn't heard about it, it's not something, I don't think, that's on her agenda currently. I don't think it's before the Boston City Council, but I was thinking of the same thing while we're only a mile away. Maybe that would apply to Cambridge as well. So not everything has to be necessarily new building, but maybe repurposing some of the existing structures for those purposes. But
I
yeah.
do think that we can repurpose a lot of existing structures for that purpose. And the city has property that they're looking into how we can utilize to the best of our ability. One way might be creating affordable housing. So it's certainly something to keep in mind and consider.
Right. Okay. Thanks. And what, if any, organizations have endorsed you?
So I'm endorsed by a Better Cambridge, so pro housing. I've signed the Bicycle Safety Pledge, so that's Cambridge Bicycle Safety, and I'm endorsed by Run for Something, which is a national organization that works with young, diverse, and progressive candidates.
hmm And in terms of, again, being from your position of people calling up, I'm sure you're very used to hearing from the community. A lot of the residents, and I've talked to a lot of the candidates, and this is the last day that we're doing this, and a lot of the candidates are saying one of the reasons they're running is their community, their neighborhood did not feel heard around certain issues. And I wonder, would you be open to community input on the issues of housing and the affordable housing overlay and the bicycle safety ordinance? And tweaking that system, or perhaps adjusting your position based on community input.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be a public servant if I didn't want to listen to people. And like you said, I have probably the most experience hearing from residents of any of the candidates. It's what I've been doing for years. I think that people closest to the issues have some of the best ideas and the solutions.
Mm-hmm.
So I certainly would support having community input. And I think that we can be creating better opportunities for engagement with diverse groups. Again, what the city has been challenged with is communication and making sure that we're getting everybody to the table to give that input before policies are put into effect and when implementation is imminent. So we need to get more people to the table, listen to them, and incorporate that when we're rolling out our solutions. When we're doing something, we need to be able to adjust mid-course if it calls for that. If something's not working, we shouldn't continue to do it. And so I think that we've had really inclusive processes for example, when we were doing the city manager hiring. So I've facilitated some of those focus groups, and we were able to get a diverse group of people to the table beforehand to make the job description. And then with that, we were able to hire somebody who I think has been doing a pretty good job.
Mm-hmm. Okay, because I think one of the issues might be, and you would know more than me, sometimes, and I'm not speaking specifically about the city council, but sometimes people don't want to get the answer. So they don't ask the question because they don't want to really know the answer. You've heard the term, it's better to ask for forgiveness than get permission, something like that. Have you heard that term? It's better
Yeah.
to beg for forgiveness than for ask for permission. And I wonder if that was part of the thinking that went into something that somebody might say, we need to save the planet and we have to, go all green in the city, which is a very admirable goal. Therefore, we're not going to ask the question about the bike lanes because this is what we need to do and this is how we need to implement it. And I don't want to put you on the spot or anything, but I'm saying I wonder if that might have been part of the thinking that went into the lack of communication, because there was communication around other things. Like you said, city manager, the vaccine rollouts, they did incredible work, the city council and the mayor's office during the whole pandemic, probably as good, if not better than most places in the state and in the country and in the world for that matter. So I just want to file that under, we have to, be dedicated to getting answers we might not even agree with.
Yeah, and I think I am kind of a poster child for asking those difficult questions. So I always ask questions. It's not something that I do afterwards, asking for forgiveness. I think we need to know up front what we're getting into. We need to be willing to take some trade-offs, but as a public servant, you have to be honest about what you're doing, what's happening, why it's happening. I think that will get the most results for people.
Alrighty. So how about a final statement, and where can people find out about you? And please feel free to ask for your votes. Ask for votes.
Yeah. Well, so after a decade of working for social change, I think that I will be an important voice with a breadth and depth of experience that the City Council could benefit from. So please do consider voting number 1 for Adrienne Klein on November 7th. You can learn about me at www.voteadrienne.com or on social media at voteadrienne.
Great. Thank you so much, Adrienne, for joining us today. Congratulations on your decision to run for Cambridge City Council. Wishing you the best of luck, and we will see you on the campaign trail and on the City of Cambridge circuit. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Jimmy.